All right. Valamogulis, Valadaharis. All men must die. All men must serve. So here I am, day 6 of my push-up challenge. I haven't actually figured out who I'm going to call out yet. Mm, I'll think of somebody. Anyway, I was going to talk about suicide awareness today, but then that whole thing with this Copernic guy came up. You know the guy. If you follow football, you know who I'm talking about. That biracial dude who he said he didn't want to stand for the national anthem. Felt that he didn't want to represent for a flag, that he felt oppressed black people. Well, the thing is, it is his right to do so because this is America. Our military and our armed forces. That's what we're here to talk about. And it occurred to me that one of the reasons that people commit suicide is that they are convinced they are oppressed when they might not necessarily be oppressed, in my opinion. So we're going to talk about some of the people here in America who believe they are oppressed but are not really oppressed. Now, first of all, you should understand that there are really no second-class citizens in America except for the following groups: felons, immigrants, and sex offenders. If you're a felon or a sex offender, anytime anything goes wrong in the area, the detectives, they will come talk to you before anybody else. So that makes you a second-class citizen. You're kind of marked in that way. You're in a database. And immigrants who are in this country, but all that other stuff that you take for granted, like, Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, Obamacare, nah, not so much. So those people are second-class citizens, but everybody else in this country, even the poor, even the folks who are in poverty, should not be complaining about how oppressed they are at all. Because even if you're in poverty, there's ways to get out. And even if you're below the poverty line, yeah, you're still doing better than a whole fuck ton of people in the world. So, Americans should shut the hell up about oppression. Specifically black people. Black people, if you don't let that slavery shit go already, that was 150 years ago. Jim Crow, it ain't happening no more. Segregation, it ain't happening no more. There was a Civil Rights Act, there was a Voting Rights Act. So this notion that you're still oppressed, that you're still going through the same stuff that your ancestors went through, and that everybody needs to feel guilty because of it, fuck you. No, they don't. In fact, at this point, black people are actually kind of privileged. There are HBCUs, colleges dedicated specifically to you. There are scholarships that are dedicated specifically to you. There are subprime mortgages, which again were dedicated specifically to you and aimed at you and getting you on par with other people. And there's affirmative action, where they just add 200 points to your SAT score just because you are black. Now think about that. If they did that for somebody else, you'd say it was racist now, wouldn't you? Yeah. You're not oppressed. You're doing just fine. You're just not taking advantage of the opportunities that you have. If you are broke, it is because you suck with money or because your parents suck with money. So the moral of this story is stop sucking, get good. Now, the next group that believes they're oppressed are women. I'm not going to go in too hard on the feminists, but let's just get this clear. If you're a woman and you're just an 8 out of 10, you don't even have to be a model. You don't even have to be a 10. You don't have to be 11 or 12. You ain't even got to be all that sexy. If you just have a form, if you just have a shape and you're an 8 out of 10 and you can clean up nice, you can pretty much get anything you want from any man without trying. Yeah. Not to mention that men are just jumping to assist you with pretty much anything. If it's heavy, they want to pick it up for you. If you're struggling, they want to help you out. They want to give you advice. Happens all the time. Men protect women, men defend women, and it's an instinct. We do it without even thinking. Custody. The only way you don't get custody of your child is if you're a fucking crackhead. Seriously. A crackhead that can't hold it together for an hour to show up to court. That's the only way you don't get custody in a split or a divorce. So this notion that you're oppressed, no. Also, we do not live in a rape culture. Get that out of your head. This notion that 1 in 4 women gets raped on college campuses and universities is also bullshit. It does not happen. No. What's happened is they've moved the goalposts and expanded the definition of rape. So now anytime anyone has had any alcohol in their system, they can't give consent. Basically, you've expanded the definition of rape and inflated the damn statistics, so it doesn't really mean shit anymore. But again, we're not going to get into that. If you want to know what a real rape culture is like, go talk to somebody from Saudi Arabia, Somalia, or a woman who's Yazidi. They know what rape culture is like. They know what female genital mutilation is like. And they know what religious oppression is like. Speaking of religions, that's the next group of people who think that they are oppressed here in America. Religious folks. Christians, shut the hell up. It says in God we trust on the money. You are not oppressed. The only oppression that any Christians actually suffer, and they love to call it persecution, because you know Christianity has a persecution complex, seeing as it was created by Jews who were under the thumb of the Roman Empire. Yeah, I know my history. Yeah, Christians, you're not oppressed. The most oppression that Christians suffer is they get criticized by atheists like me. That's pretty much the only oppression you suffer. I'll give you a little credit. People got a little bit crazy about that. People that person with the wedding cake and the homosexual woman. People got a little bit crazy about that. I'll give you a little bit of credit. That one's a little crazy. They may potentially try to take your nonprofit status sometime in the future, but I'm pretty sure that before that happens, people will vote for somebody who's not going to do that. So don't worry. You guys will be just fine. Stay calm the fuck down, just like the Jews are. Do not by any means start acting like those crazy ass Islamic people. Don't. Just don't. By the way, I've noticed that there's almost as many churches around as there are liquor stores. So seriously, the notion that you're oppressed, no. Not to mention that the government is never really supposed to sponsor one religion or another because we're supposed to be secular, but a lot of times they do it anyway because this country was founded based on some Christian values. And the thing is, most people don't even care. Don't even mind. You can pray at school. You can have education at school. No one cares. Every once in a while somebody will show up and say something about it just to be an asshole, but really though, that's the extent of it. I'll make fun of you, but I'm not trying to kill you. Back to Islam. You guys are not oppressed either. There's a very valid reason why people are nervous about Islam, and it has to do with the content of the Quran and how some of you tend to interpret it. Like it or not, Islamic terrorism really is a thing. So that makes folks nervous, and that is the only reason that people in this country that are Islamic we look at you a little bit leery, because you never know. But that's the only reason. If it wasn't for that, we'd probably leave you the fuck alone altogether. I don't think anybody would even care, because here in this country, I mean, you're in America. Once something comes to America, it's been Americanized. Islam in America is nothing like Islam in the Middle East. Islam in America is wear your hijab and your skinny jeans. Go do yoga. Sip a latte. And then, if you want to be a jump off and be Islamic, you can do that too. Anytime you want, you can snatch the burqa off. You can snatch off the hijab, let your hair down, go get buck fucking wild. And then come back home, put it back on, and it's like nobody is any wiser. And you got everything covered up, so it's harder to recognize you sometimes. So, yeah. Don't act like you ain't got it good. Because you could be over in the Middle East getting passed around by ISIS fighters. Just saying. Or getting blown up by ISIS fighters. Just saying. And they don't like you. Nah, they don't. ISIS don't like you. Because as far as they're concerned, you're corrupt because you don't read the Quran the way that they read the Quran. So if ISIS has their way, you'll become slaves, or you'll be killed, or you'll convert and do things their way. So y'all ain't being persecuted either. Y'all ain't no, you're not oppressed. You are not in the caliphate. Get it right. So yeah, I don't understand how anybody in America has the nerve to say they're oppressed. Like seriously, anybody. One of my friends last night, he's talking like he's oppressed because the police he can't count on one hand the number of times he's been stopped by police. They've checked his stuff out and then just let him go. That's his bar for oppression. That he's been stopped like 6 times in his life by the cops and then they just let him go. And he feels that because of this, he needs to insert racism into it because reasons. That's his bar for oppression. If they didn't snatch him out the car, they didn't put a gun in his face, they didn't strip search him, they didn't beat him, they didn't threaten him or arrest him. None of that stuff. No. They just checked his stuff out. It was clean. Have a good evening, sir. But he feels that that is prolonged, cruel, or unjust treatment or control. That's the definition of oppression. For the record, none of those people I just mentioned meet that definition. So all I'm saying, black folks, America, we got to do better. Act like you know you got it made. Enjoy life. Be happy. And don't commit suicide. All right, so main show.